Over the last few years in Hollywood, a genre that has certainly done well is action, with things like Top Gun Maverick, Mission Impossible and John Wick just to name a few. And now, 9 years after the first film, we have the third installment of the Equalizer trilogy. This series is clearly one which Denzel Washington has been passionate about because he rarely does sequels, and so to do 3 films, that really does say something, and he really has as well carried this whole trilogy and is the best part once again in this film as Robert McCall. In the first 2 films he's quite the nosy bastard as he helps out different individuals, but now in this third installment he's helping out a whole community. And that's because he finds himself in a small town on the coast of Sicily, and this town is being threatened by the local mafia. After quite a thrilling opening, the film does hit the brakes as Robert gets used to his new surroundings and meets all the different townspeople. And it does get to a point where you ask yourself, am I just watching Denzel Washington have a hot beverage over and over again?
You know, I always figured that tea was just going to taste like hot brown water. And you know what? I was right. Yeah, it's horrible. No, thank you.
It does eventually move away from being a pretty good advertisement for an Italian getaway as Robert gets stuck into the action. As has been the case across all the films, he's an easy character to get behind because he has that Robin Hood quality about him where you just want him to do well for these people. And with that being said, it does remind you quite a lot of other action films we've seen in the past, but with this sort of film, we don't get many of these days, so it does stand out amongst the rest. However, with the slow nature of this film, it could be quite a frustrating watch for some audience members because if you are expecting a lot of action and wanting it to be like a roller coaster ride, it's not that, it's more like a Ferris wheel. In the second Equalizer film, it tried to handle too many different characters and plot lines, and in this film, it struggled to weave together this story about the mafia and this plotline about the CIA. It was though good to see Dakota Fanning play this agent and reunite with Denzel, because I haven't seen her in anything for quite some time, and I've seen her sister, Elle Fanning, in quite a lot recently.
I apologise if I've been of sour face lately. I had my blood in, and you know how that goes.
After watching this one, I think the first one is still easily the best one. The second film has its moments, and I think the scene where the kid's having to hide in the secret room is one of the standout scenes, but the film overall had a lot of issues. This one I think is more consistent, but it is at a slower pace. I'd still say that this one was more enjoyable though than that second film. The Equalizer 3 certainly has a touch of western to it. It is slow like I said, but Denzel still does put on a show. It is also into that sort of category of a dad film, and so it's not the most memorable, but he was the first film and the second film, and I think that's fine. Sometimes a film doesn't have to be one which you think about too long afterwards, but this film does do enough I think in that moment for you to enjoy it. I think director Anton Fuqua's got a decent trilogy here, nothing amazing, nothing awful, pretty much middle of the road. So over the years I will forget a lot of the content in these films, but what I won't forget is the character of Robert McCall and how well he was played by Denzel Washington, and I think as we've seen in the promotional material it does state that this is the final chapter, but what is exactly final these days in Hollywood? Maybe it'll come back one day, we'll wait and see. For now though, let me know your thoughts on the Equalizer 3 in the comments, and also which film is your favourite out of the trilogy. And if you want to watch another video, on screen is one which YouTube thinks you're gonna like.